Next tonight, it's 35 years since the East Midlands got its first commercial radio station with the launch of Radio Trent. But this month, Trent and 2 other stations have disappeared to be replaced by Capital FM East Midlands. Well, I've been talking to some familiar voices about shared memories and asking what's changed in the world of local radio.
1975, the Conservative Party gets a new leader, Forest gets a new manager, and on the 3rd of July, Nottingham gets a new radio station.
We've got the sounds of this town, spread it around, sweet music. Trent is the place, 301 is the space.
So what made Trent special to a generation of listeners?
It was always summertime when Trent was on. It used to get you going, you felt alive. They just had that... You talk about the X Factor, well, they had the double X Factor.
Who were the voices behind the Trent microphones?
Kid Jensen.
It's 23 minutes now before 1 o'clock on 301 Radio Trent.
And why this month has the name disappeared forever?
I feel like that I've had a child and it's been savaged by a Rottweiler.
We deserve to have our own radio station. Nobody has any right to come in and take it from us.
301, 301, sounds like a lot of fun. Play the sounds you want to hear. It's 301, it's 301 now. It's 301 that you want to hear.
What you have to remember is just how new this combination of the latest pop music and local content sounded. Up until that summer of 1975, teenagers who wanted to listen to pop music, and I was one of them, had to hide under the bedclothes with Radio Luxembourg or Radio 1. Now, there was a new sound in town.
The sound that we offered right from day one was an alternative to national radio, which people had been listening to if they wanted to hear pop music, for example, Radio Luxembourg by night or Radio 1 by day. I mean, we could play the same songs, but with a local angle.
It was just everybody was new, fresh, enjoyed what they were doing, and you felt it.
For John Peters and David Lloyd, a walk up Castlegate in Nottingham is a trip down memory lane.
I think Trent was in there for about 30, 34 years, something like that. It's a long time. I just remember walking down here before I ever worked here, when I grew up in Nottingham, wanting to work at the radio station, sitting in reception, dreaming of working here one day. So this building makes me feel strange when I walk inside.
And when you woke up, you were.
Trent moved in 2007. The old studios have been stripped out, the buildings being converted into a state-of-the-art youth centre by Nottingham City Council. But for more than 25 years, this is where John Peters started most of his mornings.
Good morning.
And this is the studio where you did the first programme from?
This is Studio A, yes. Our desk and all the panel was here. And the news booth was in there. That's the window there for the news booth. And on the first day we had our chief engineer, Jeff Woodward, bless him, who kept reminding me to make sure you put yourself on air, he'd say.
A major rows looming over a rate increase announced by Nottinghamshire County Council, and we'll be taking a look at the great Derbyshire custard debate.
As material is transmitted, more has to be collected. To help in this process, Trent puts on the road highly sophisticated outside broadcast units.
Fine, super. Well, that seems to be okay. Well, there's Tug over there. Let's go and have a word with him.
What sort of response did you get from the people of Nottingham?
Well, the phones went mad, and they were saying, what's this, what's going on? But that was very, very good. And within the first week, we had bags of mail, cards and letters, literally, all saying how much they enjoyed it. And it was something different, of course, you know.
If you were feeling a bit down, you put Radio Trent on, Radio Trent, boop, boop, and you were there. And that's what I liked about it.
You and your radio, getting it together.
Trent launched some of the best-known voices in broadcasting, including Dale Winton, who was here for 8 years.
Kid Jensen was on, I remember him.
301 with the kind of sounds you want to hear.
I was lucky because I had established myself as a name, I guess, after being on Luxembourg for 7 years, which was a pretty big station in those days. And people were extremely friendly, and lived in Ruddington initially for the first several months of when I was in Nottingham, and then bought our first house in Radcliffe-on-Trent, just off the A52, and found a new set of friends.
We had to make commercials, dummy commercials, for the radio sales team to go out and sell airtime, because no one in Nottingham knew what a commercial was.
Here we go for take two. Just make it a little warmer. You're a bit too hard at the moment.
Would you like to play host of French school children this year?
Families are needed in April, July and August.
The production of commercials is a highly specialised and time-consuming business, requiring a good deal of expertise and dedication.
We used to have lots of fun as we did commercials with lots of well-known famous people.
By the time I arrived in the 80s, it was all happening. The station really had taken off, because now there are 300 commercial radio stations. Back then, this was the 13th. There was nobody else locally. Radio 1 was on medium wave only. Everybody listened. The power of this station was amazing. At one stage, I think more than half of the people in the inner city actually listened to Radio Trent during a week. So you'd step outside, everybody knew you. You went into a newsagent's, they knew your voice. Incredible power back then.
But 10 years after it launched, one of Trent's regular DJs hit the headlines for all the wrong reasons.
March 29th, 1985, 24-year-old Lynn Goldengay has gone missing, and it's front-page news. Her former boyfriend, DJ Graham Neal, has appealed for her to get in contact. His colleagues at Radio Trent are full of sympathy.
I remember the day the police came to pick him up. He was sitting in reception looking very morose. And I put my hand around his shoulder. I said, "Come on, Graham, she'll be all right. She'll turn up, she'll come back."
I saw him standing by the lift downstairs, carrying a bag, looking ashen-faced, no shoes on, unusual sight. I went on air and I said that. I said, "He's on tonight. It looks a bit strange." I just described him clearing up what he'd just done. It was a difficult time.
Just after that, the police came along, and of course it's all documented as to what happened after that.
Neil led police to Lynn's grave and was charged with her murder. 2 months later, Lynn's boyfriend, Duncan McCracken, killed himself in a fume-filled car. And in June of the same year, Graham Neal hanged himself in Lincoln Prison while on remand.
It was a big shock. It was like a thump in the stomach, because you just couldn't believe that this would happen.
People always say you know if you meet a murderer, and we didn't.
The East Midlands weather, apart from an isolated light wintry shower, most places will have a dry day with some...
By the late 80s, commercial radio was thriving.
And our thanks is always there to Phil Dixon reporting.
John Peters.
Come on, let's shake a leg or two.
Good morning.
Or three.
Tell me about the ghost in this room, because I've heard stories about ghosts. And as we walked into this room just before, you said there's a little old lady in the corner.
Oh, yes.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Every morning when I used to walk through the door, I used to say good morning, because I used to sense there was a little lady who's there, over there. This used to be a women's hospital, apparently. This was the morgue.
It was a powerhouse in the late 80s and was expanding with its medium wave service, GEM, its service in Leicester Sound. So Trent was really at the beginning of consolidation.
It kind of peaked at the end of the century, and when we got into the 2000s, reality struck home. Advertising dried up to some extent. There are more and more stations fighting with the same number of advertisers.
This is the kid on gold playing the greatest hits of all time. And here comes another one from Elvis.
Today, Kid Jensen broadcasts from Capital Gold, owned by the biggest radio group in Britain. And this month, Global launched Capital FM East Midlands. The name Trent, together with Ram FM and Leicester Sound, disappeared.
What's really interesting this month is that you turn on your radio and 4 stations in the East Midlands have changed their names. I don't think that's ever happened in any area in the United Kingdom before.
What Global want to do is give us what they see as the quality of national broadcasters, highly paid presenters on local stations, and complement that with local news. Whether they'll be able to actually achieve that or not is a different matter.
Carol Fleming's students are preparing for a career in broadcast journalism at Nottingham Trent University. So, as local radio shrinks, what does the future hold for them?
We're going to lose the link that Trent has always had with Nottingham, and that's very sad to lose. But there's still an audience out there that wants something very local. Community stations are the obvious ones that will benefit, but there's also an opportunity for lots of online news products to start up.
Tonight, Nottingham Castle is the venue for an emotional reunion, a chance to celebrate 35 years, to share memories and to mourn what's gone.
I'm quite astonished, actually, that such a legendary name, one of the first group of commercial radio stations that actually ever existed, is being allowed just to disappear.
It's a very sad time for radio. It's a very difficult time for radio, and I think it's the end of what we know as local radio now.
It's like when somebody passes over, they're gone, aren't they? And at the end of the day, you can't bring them back, unfortunately.
People will remember Radio Trent because there's thousands and thousands of listeners out there in listening land that will always remember Radio Trent. The staff that ever worked there will always remember Radio Trent. It won't be forgotten.
The unmistakable sound of Radio Trent. Thanks for tuning in. See you next Monday.
Next week, the fakes that threaten Royal Crown Derby and the auctioneer who was warned off.
Keep your trap shut, otherwise your gavel won't be banging much longer.